go. So welcome everybody. My name is Tim Illig. I am the chair of the Area Center Circle, and it's my pleasure to have here Keith Jarvis with MKPUSA. So welcome, Keith.
Hi, thanks very much. Glad to be here.
Great. So tell me what your role is with MKPUSA and what you do with that role.
You know, my title, job-wise, is administrative director. And since we have changed our internal management system to something called Holacracy, the actual hats that various members of the team are wearing at one time or another may evolve and change. Some of the roles that I'm carrying right now that take a great deal of my time and attention are training and event execution, right? And that's looking at the institutional side of all the sponsored trainings and events that happen at the local and national levels. I have other administrative responsibilities. The role titles might not mean much to you, but I administer parts of our data systems. I administer parts of the way that areas get their reports and rosters and those kind of clerical efforts handled. I administer our insurance certificates, some of the relationship with our insurance provider. And then I'm also doing a lot of work within our teams with this thing called Holacracy. I've taken a couple of trainings with the Holacracy One organization. So I tend to be a coach, a facilitator, and to help our team members learn how that works and how to improve their understanding and implementation of that Holacracy thing. There's a lot more that I do that kind of fills in the gaps. I'm the longest tenured employee, so I know some of the background and history and how things happened. So I tend to be a glue guy and to help fill in gaps when necessary. So that's a good overview, I think.
Great. So 2018, what kind of things, accomplishments that you want to brag about?
Well, one of the things that I think most of the men on the ground may have witnessed and experienced in this last couple of years, this NWTA readiness form, was the work of many, but really my brainchild, that we created a means to replace the paper confidential medical record. And we replaced it with a behavioral screen that's online. We have a central team of diagnosticians, professional healthcare volunteers that then do the screening for the attendees of the New Warrior Training Adventure. This has alleviated a lot of the burden on areas to find a reviewer. But one of the things that we don't often think about that we had with the print medical records were privacy issues. And so what we have now is dramatically increased protection of personal information through the use of this system, as well as just a lot more efficiency for NWTA staff, participants, and local administrators. We put out the first ever MKPUSA collection of safety guidelines and processes. In 2017, the MKPI curriculum team started to take out and removed a lot of the stuff that was more like regional policy and out of the NWTA protocols. And that allowed us to make specific things that work in the US that might not work in France or Australia, for example. So we have a great set of safety guidelines and resources for the medics and the leaders and the safety coordinators. That was the work of many years, really, to get us in the place where we could do that. And that's up, and I think they've been very well received. There's other things that that I've helped accomplish in this past year, but I think for the bulk of the men that are going to see this might not be as much interested in the Holacracy structure adaptations that we've done, and some of the things, the internal system improvements, the kind of business processes by which various members of our support teams handle things like leases and facility agreements and certificates of insurance. Those are the under the hood things that a lot of the men on the ground don't know about.
Great. Great. Thank you. And I will say personally, I very much appreciated the online readiness form. Makes life so much easier. Don't have to fill the information out and dig that information up all the time. And then the safety protocols. So my ask for all the areas, especially leader bodies, is to read the new safety protocol. So thank you for all your efforts doing that. What are some of the things that keep you up at night?
Well, sometimes I worry because when men on the ground are very passionate. I am. I was not really a center director, but a key element, a weekend coordinator, the training, the local perspective, back before I kind of started to be involved at the national level. And sometimes in the passion to do something unique and charismatic and, to grasp community building, we accidentally put ourselves at risk by not getting a lease for a facility use. And so the sorts of things that keep me up at night are, is that event protected by our insurance policy? Have we done the due diligence necessary in order to have that be a sponsored training? And so what keeps me up is worry about planning and coordination and a desire for men on the ground to take advantage of what we know in order to be able to help the thing work well and be safe. Right. So that's the sort of stuff that at 2:30 a.m. I might sit up and scratch my head about. And that's why I don't have hair anymore.
Okay. Well, thank you again for all you're doing and worrying about the things that we don't worry about sometimes, and bringing that to our attention. What are some of your goals that you're looking to accomplish in 2019?
Well, we're tweaking continuous improvement, on some of the things that are already, like, we're in the third year now of readiness form. What we are rolling out at present is registered participant login. So that's all jargon. What it just means is that your participant will have an MKP Connect account, and so we will have fewer errors with their submission of the readiness form. There's a similar project underway related to our ability to, process the readiness forms more rapidly and consistently. I have also in the works in the iGroup realm, with the training and execution hat, a desire for pit leaders to become certified nationally. And I'm working with the iGroup Council about that. There's great plans on how to do that so that men that have been doing pits for a long time, leading pits for a long time, can be kind of grandparented in, and then a defined structure over time allows those men that have been passionate and doing good work for a long time to not be jumping through too many unnecessary hoops. But it will serve us all if those pit leaders become certified, because then I can run pit registration and payment through our central systems. So those are the types of things that I'm looking at in this year, and continuous improvement of everything from effective, efficient business practices, so to speak, and safety on the ground. Safety on the ground is a big thing in my role, and it's something that I focus on quite a bit.
Excellent. Thank you. So the last question is you're going to be with us for the face-to-face gathering next month, and looking forward to hearing from you. And you'll have the audience of the area stewards and the iGroup coordinators. And we want, instead of just a simple presentation of you giving information, we'd like to have this as a two-way dialogue with you and the area stewards and iGroup coordinators to perhaps focus on a particular question or problem that either the areas are having or you're having that we can collaboratively work on. So what do you think is the biggest thing you'd like to have a conversation with them on?
You know, perhaps it's more of a general vibe conversation that planning and coordination, which often smells like bureaucracy and it's a hassle to a lot of guys on the ground, is not really the enemy of spontaneous, charismatic, collaborative local events. I believe that when an area administrator in particular is well informed by event champions in your area, is very involved early on when let's do this event, let's do that training. Those guys, when the area administrator is plugged in, are likely to help you fill in any gaps that would affect you with the national part of the organization. And then we can better support what's going on. So, you know, I think it's still an evolution of the unification process, kind of stage 2 of unification, that we have some leftovers of the pre-unification area where there's still a little bit of we versus they, local and central national. And I think this is the next stage of kind of continuing to think that there's not we, they, there's us, right? And so to us, we all want great events and trainings locally. It serves the best interests of a local area community and the national organization when they are well planned and coordinated. It frees you up to focus on enrollment and outreach. It frees you up to think about program and content, knowing that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed with things like facility use agreements and certificates of insurance. So, you know, that's the main thing that I would probably, and then respond, of course, to what's in the room. I think that there are still occasionally some questions about how events get sponsored, which events are going to have PayPal buttons and which are going to be fully inside MKP Connect, and our gradual evolution of those processes. So, you know, we're happy to address questions and concerns about that and our slowly developing capacity over time.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. Any parting words for us before we conclude? Again, I really appreciate you spending time with us.
You know, the only parting words is that, you know, I have been around for a while, and I'm fondly recalling, you know, some of these meetings of past years. I haven't been in the last couple of years. I think some of that was, you know, financial resources to get all the staff there, and you know, but back in the day, and I've been to some of these in Brainerd, Minnesota, and St. Paul, and in Glen Ivy, California, and you know, so I am looking forward to being able to be in the space and remind you all that I am a guy, and I have been around this work, and I care about this work, and that so often, you know, when we're in silos separately, or we're words on a screen and an email, we forget that. I may forget that, and you know, inadvertently be a little too prickly. So I'm looking forward to rubbing elbows and reminding myself and you that this is a us space. It's a collaborative effort.
Great. That's a very important theme that I think we're going to be emphasizing next month. So again, Keith, thank you so much for joining, and look forward to seeing you next month.
Yep, it'll be here before we know it.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Tim.